Welcome back. This is Agrippa Row. This is the third video, and I just logged in for the first time with this character. It starts you out in front of the starports. That's what this big building is here. It's kind of confusing when you first jump into the game because everything on Mos Eisley looks the same. It's all the same kind of tan stone. There's something important right when you start out here, though. This is something that's unique to the Awakening server. It's an enhancement terminal, and when you go to your radial menu, right-click, use, you can get some starting buffs. You can remove buffs, get the buffs, or heal battle fatigue. Now, battle fatigue, I don't know why you would do that, because you can go to an entertainer in the cantina, but maybe they did that because not a lot of people were playing at first. The main important part is this one, the basic health, action, and mind buffs. These are going to help you like beyond anything else right now, because they are going to allow you to kill things that you otherwise would pretty much have no chance to kill. They give you a buff to your basic ham, which is health, action, mind. If any one of these three bars goes to 0, you will fall over incapacitated. So you have to actually be aware of all three of these. Like most games, it's like, okay, this is my health bar, this is my bar to use certain weapons, and this is like my mana bar or mind bar, right? So, but in this game, although you do use them for specials, and they do decrease based on the cost of the special, they also, once they go to 0, you in effect fall over unconscious and are very vulnerable to death. Some NPCs will kill you, some will just walk away, but if you get incapacitated 3 times in a short span of time, short time period, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but you will die and be sent to the cloning facility. So anyway, this enhancement terminal, you won't use it right when you start out because you won't have enough credits for it, but once you get going with your missions, it'll really help you out. Okay, so when you first walk into the world, now this is assuming you're like the majority of people and want to kill shit. You might want to just go ahead and get your speeder out. It's on this little data pad thing. You're going to double click it, and that'll do nothing except show you a little picture of it. Actually, you want to right click it and generate vehicle. So look at that. In town, your speeder will pop up automatically. Outside of towns, it takes 15 seconds and you can't be in combat. So it's not like an escape tool usually. Okay, so now you're going to notice it disappears from your inventory when it generates. When you take it and store it, it's not going to appear in your inventory anymore. It's going to be on your data pad. So you have a few icons here. You got your first one's your planetary map. Okay. Ooh, yay. Okay, so you got the maps pretty much are just north-south as far as being able to adjust your view of the map. These maps are quite large. I think they said 15 by 15 kilometers. So it's pretty big. You're going to see several cities on here. Some of these cities are actually player cities. So once a city is founded, it appears on your map regardless, which is kind of cool. Like this city right to the west is Las Vegas, and that is a player city. I believe the actual starting cities were Mos Eisley, Anchorhead, Vestine, maybe Wayfar, and then up here, all these most, I don't know. I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. It's been a while. But these are major cities or forts. Most of them are peaceful. Obviously, you don't want to go to Fort Tuscan, because that's the Tuscan Raiders, what do they call them, sand people. Okay, so that's your map. The second icon is your quest journal. That can be helpful, but generally not needed. Next one is your inventory, which I've been using I for. Then you have your data pad. Now this one's important because it's going to have waypoints to your missions that you take, and it's going to have data such as your speeder. These are points of interest. And to be honest with you, I haven't done a lot of those. There are like little theme parky type things you can do, like at Java's Palace, but I've kind of taken the, do what you want, explore what you want approach, which doesn't include that at this moment. So, yeah, so I got my speeder, and you can right click it, enter, exit, on enter. You're going to be a little quirky when you first start out. Don't feel bad about that. Like, look at that, I just ran into the wall. Sometimes it's hard to get used to these things. I don't know why. It's like I can drive them for days and be okay, and then the next day I'm like, yeah. So where do you go? I think I've showed you all this stuff. Let's see here. Get your character sheet. Now this is important. This explains where your stats are allocated right now. Like, you see my guy's pretty balanced. Humans are kind of nice that way when they start out. They don't start with huge disadvantages. A little bit more health than action. A little bit less mind than action, but all in a decent range. The health, action, and mind are your ham, your health bar basically. 3-tiered health bar. If any of those go down to 0 again, you get incapacitated. You also see this thing called battle fatigue. That's going to be what happens when you get, well, basically just do a lot of fighting. That will build up. The more that builds up, the less effective you are in combat. So you actually have to rest a little bit in this game, which sounds like a big downer, but in actuality it's all tied into the social atmosphere. And I can go into that a little bit more in a second. Okay, so then you have secondary attributes, which for health is strength and constitution, for action is quickness and stamina, and for mind is focus and willpower. And you can see right here, if you mouse over and just, hold it there, you can see that the first secondary, in this case strength, it basically reduces the amount of health that gets reduced when that goes down when you perform an action, generally a combat action, but it could be anything really. Anything that uses health. So that's going to reduce that. And then the second one, so in this case constitution, will actually increase the regeneration rate of the primary. So constitution increases the regeneration rate of health. Now, besides those factors and the fact that it's your health bar, these do not affect anything as far as combat goes. So you're not going to get increased damage for more strength with sword, for instance. That's all going to be based on your weapon itself and the skills that you have. How well trained you are, or whatever, however you want to put it. But again, quickness reduces the amount of action points used to complete an action, and stamina increases the regen, and focus and willpower do the same thing for mind, whereas these two do it for action. So anyway, that's a quick overview of what that does. You also have, let's see, personal, kind of talks about things you've won. You have not won any badges. So factions, that's not even on here yet. I don't know if that's even in the game yet. I'm kind of unsure of that because this is an emulator. So anyway, one thing you can do right off the bat, which is really helpful, if you hit M, you get your, you think, okay, map. No, that's not this map. It's not your, where'd it go? It's not your planetary map. This is your overview of the entire planet. If you hit M, it's going to give you almost like a little scanning of the area around you. You're going to see all these little triangles, which are people and or NPCs. In this case, these are NPCs. I think the people are in teal. NPCs are in like unattackable NPCs are in white. attackable NPCs that are neutral are yellow, and aggressive NPCs that will attack you are in red. And you see all these little things. It says a marksman trainer here. You can kind of barely see a medic trainer, artisan trainer. So we're right in the area where we can get all our stuff. So let's go ahead and hit M again. Take that off. And let's exit our vehicle. Okay, so you think, why am I going here? You know, I'm already a marksman. If you talk to him, you'll see you can't get any other skills. Why am I going here and doing this? Well, if you get all the beginning professions, you will get the abilities of them as well. So it's kind of useful. Plus, you will get not only the abilities, but you will get you'll be able to gain experience in those things. So if you happen to pick up, like say I happen to pick up a sword and swing it a few times, well, if I didn't have it trained, I'm not going to have the experience for it because it'll not be building up. Since I have it trained, it's going to be building up. So here's a medic. I'm going to go ahead and learn Novice Medic. And of course this takes skill points. Like we'll go back to our little lightning bolt. Now you can see Marksman, Medic, Brawler, and then if you click here you can see down here you can surrender the Novice to recover 15 skill points. But you have 205 out of 250, or I do still. You have 250 total. So to learn the basics, it's great picking up those things. Now the only thing I would say is you probably don't need Artisan. Go ahead and get Scout though for sure. And it's costing me 100 credits per one of these I do. But again, if I go here, you can see it's only costing me 300 credits to get the other 3. Scout's going to let you, I guess I should go into that as well. Brawler, obviously, that's going to allow you to attack with melee weapons or unarmed better. Medic is going to give you some basic medicinal abilities. You can cure wounds, which, let's see, if you go to your character sheet, status, that's one part I didn't explain here. Each one of your attributes here, each one of your 9 attributes you can accrue wounds within them. So if you get hit a lot in the head, your mind and your focus and your willpower will take wounds. If you perform a lot of actions that are combat related, they will too. I think healing takes mind, so that'll cause wounds there. Legs, arms, action, I think that's how it works, and the body is health. So these wounds will reduce your combat effectiveness and actually reduce these base stats. So if I had 100 wounds in health, I would have 1,000 hit points, or 1,000 health, I'm sorry, instead of 1,100. So it makes a difference. Medic is going to allow you to, see if I have them here. Nothing appeared on my bar. So, but Medic is going to allow you. Okay, it's because I had my Brawler pop up. It's going to let you heal some minor wounds. So, okay, again, you're like, how do I get these things on my bar after I learn them? So each time you learn a new skill, you can go down to here to that little explosion again, which is this little icon here, and you'll see combat. So, okay, no medicinal abilities in there. Okay, great. But you'll have mood, you can change your mood. You have social, like emotes. Macro, but others where we're actually going to find some of the things that we just got. Okay, so you can down here, 10 damage. If you click them, the description appears down below in info. It's kind of old school style, a little bit harder to catch on to, but it's, once you learn it, it's pretty easy to use. So you can see all these different icons, and they each have a associated description at the bottom telling you what they do. When I got Medic, I got heal damage, heal wounds, medical forage, which allows you to find medicinal supplies, stuff like that. So actually, one that's really useful that we got from the Brawler tree is Center of Being. Okay, so I'm going to teach you something here real quick. You can see Center of Being. That's what it's actually named, right? This is something that costs you no health, action, or mind to use. So you want to set that up on a macro if you have it. Oh, I just closed the window. So like if you run other and we're looking at center of being, you can go to macro tab. And look at that, I already have it created, which is odd because I didn't do it on this character and didn't save everything, but that's cool. So basically you go to new macro. It's going to bring up this screen. You name your macro whatever you want. Okay? And then you choose an icon for it, doesn't matter which one. The important part is down here. So, the macro text. So once you type all that stuff in, you hit OK and it'll save it here. Now if we go back here and click center, you actually can see how I set up the macro. And this is important stuff because you're going to learn how to set up all kinds of good macros that are going to allow you to get off attacks in a timely manner without having to click every single button. So center is the name. What you type in there would be /center of being semicolon. Then you hit enter, go to the next line, /pause. 14 allows you to, right when it drops, you get it back. So you want to pause 14 seconds so it's not constantly spamming it. Semicolon. And the semicolon will go after each thing. Enter, and then /macro space center, because center is the name of the macro. Now it could have been anything. You could have named it turkey gut, you know, I don't know. I don't know. So then you see your little semicolon there. So if I go ahead and double click that, what this obviously this uses the ability. The next line pauses for 14 seconds so you don't spam. The last one, when you put /macro, that's going to repeat this. So every 14 seconds this is going to repeat. If I double click it now, let's see if it worked. I have to go back in. Not seeming to work, which is odd. Oh, that's weird. Okay, let me see here. Dump. Okay, yeah, to get rid of a macro that you've started, put /dump, and you can see 9 pause command chains dumped. I have center of being, I don't know why it's not letting me use it. Here, let me try macro center. Okay, well, I'll have to look into that as to why it's not working. Normally, once you have it here, you can double click it and it will start it cycling through. Oh, okay. Here, I think I might know. You go to other, center of being. Yes. So you can only use this when you are wielding a melee weapon. See, I'm still learning things too. This is why I actually am making this videos, because basically this kind of gets pretty overwhelming when you start out. Okay, so we've learned scout. Let's see what else is there. Go back to our lightning bolt. All professions. We don't need to learn artisan or entertainer, politician, nah. So basically, if you want to be a fighter, brawler, marksman, medic, scout should give you a good basis to start out with. You can heal those wounds I was mentioning on your character sheet. If you have wounds here, you can use Tend Wound, which will drain your mind, but it will actually get rid of that wound, and it will get your stats back up to where they need to be to fight effectively. Let's hop back into our little thing here. If you want to know where you're going, again, hit M. You can look around. This will tell you all kinds of useful information. So one of the things we're looking for, what the? Man, I swear this thing like reverses controls on me sometimes, and I'm just like, ooh. Don't ask me to drive, guys. Okay, actually, let's just head up over here. Let's head up to north of the starport, or let's see, not north. This is east of the starport up here. This little arrow right here is going to indicate on your minimap which way is north. The dot is south. It's kind of hard to see sometimes when you have all these little icons floating around, but it's invaluable when you're trying to get different places. Jeez, look. Now I can turn. Now I'm not retarded. One of the things that's kind of odd about the vehicle, well, not odd, but it's actually more realistic about the vehicles. They're not like, they don't stop on a dime. So you kind of have to do a few things. You know, you have to let it, give it time to stop. So I'm going to take the map off again, hit M, exit the vehicle. You have all these different terminals. Now, this is something like a lot of people aren't going to be aware of when you first start out. You'll be like, what the fuck do I, oh, excuse my language, what the hell do I do? So yeah, this is a good place to start. If you're an artisan, you can take one of these, make stuff. I'm assuming, again, this is, I would suggest everybody start with combat. It's going to be a little more exciting, and it's going to give you the basics of how the entire game works, really. Artisan's very fulfilling. Check it out, but we're going to start with a regular mission terminal, and that's going to be your combat missions. So you can see I have different options. There's all different payments here. One thing to bear in mind is you want these to be low. You don't want to take on, as far as difficulty goes, you don't want to take on a bunch of difficult stuff right now. You'll just be disappointed in your performance. This is 13. That's a pretty good one. Let's go ahead and accept that mission. It says, do you want to? Yes. And it was to the east, I believe. We'll see. You're going to see your little arrow now is on your screen, and that's your waypoint for your mission. And it is to the west. Yes, west. So I was wrong about that. So I'm going to see if I can find another one to the west so that it's kind of clustered in the same area. And you're going to find it's a little more efficient to do it that way. So if you don't like the missions you have, just click refresh and you'll get new missions. And again, here's another one to the west. Looks like it's not so bad because you can kind of just tell from the payment. If the payment's low, it's going to be a little bit easier probably. Yeah, a gorge layer, it's only 16 difficulty. Yeah, let's do it. So we took 2 missions. You can only take 2 at a time. And if you're wondering where they're at, you can, let's see, where is it? It's so weird. Yeah, why would you have a quest? See, there's no actual quests in here. But that's kind of misleading, so you wouldn't use that. If you want to go to your data pad again, like we were talking about for your vehicle, you can see your speeder's still there. Under data, these are the 2 waypoints to your kill missions. So we'll hop back into our vehicle here, and we will fly outside of the city. You can see all kinds of guys standing around. Oh, actually, that's another player. It's a pretty populated server for like a free shard. You see a lot of people on at all times. Spatial's your like general chat. Combat's just going to show you combat. Planet, that's planet-wide. Oh look, this guy has a question, so I'm going to go ahead and answer it. I'm going to send a tell to him. /tell, space, his name. It's pretty standard MMO stuff. And just go to your data pad and delete the waypoint for the mission. And hopefully that helps him out. This is where all the chatter goes on, as in general. You're going to see a lot of people in there that know a lot about the game. Some people are kind of abrasive, other people are really helpful. It's just kind of your standard game. Don't take offense to stuff. It's not worth it. There's some people that have been playing this game forever and they kind of act like you should know everything they know, but don't worry about that. So yeah, so we're heading out here. You can hit numlock to go like auto run or auto drive in this case. I'm driving with my apparently driving with my legs or something, using my knees to steer it because I'm holding this giant ass rifle. So you can see they can be pretty far out. If you want to, go ahead and hit Control V. That's gonna bring up your map. At least by default, you can change all this. And you just scroll down and you can see this little anchor shaped yellow deal right here, arrow, is me, and these are your waypoints for your missions, the little orange kind of caution sign looking things. So you can see I'm heading in the right direction. You can see how much progress you're making. Something you're going to want to watch out for is enemies out here. See, like this thing right here. That is a dragonette. That thing will tear me to shreds right now, so it's best I leave it alone. This is something else that's about this game. It's, again, more sandboxy, so you're not going to have like very level-specific zones and stuff like that. You're going to have to keep your eyes open when you're out and about. Okay, so one other important thing is if you hit your M out here, you're going to see it's your overhead map like before in the city, but it's shows structures still, but it's also going to show, see, I was talking about those dragonettes out there. I think these right here, these red symbols right here are probably them. So it's going to show you all the enemies and everything that's around you. And you know, you can still miss it, but having it there is going to really help you avoid things. See, you can see right now I'm coming up on a bunch of neutral NPCs. Now, they won't attack me, but if I was to attack them, they might attack me. So the best thing to do is just leave those guys alone unless you want to start a fight. Okay, so out here, and a lot of times you'll notice when, oh yeah, see this thing just conned on me. He just saw me and said, ooh, I want a piece of that. I want a piece of that tasty land speeder. And I don't really want to give him a chance, but I'll go ahead and store it. Okay, good.